Alright, welcome to turn 47, and first things first, a lot of people have been saying, or have told me throughout this game, that you really need to kit your star spawn in case they're attacked, and in this case, I did. I gave my star spawn some bodyguards who didn't turn up. I gave him some armor, I gave him a Starshine skull cap and some pearls so he could cast returning and get himself out of an event. But unfortunately, summon skill 11, summon skill 9, the star spawn was attacked by a vastness, which is presumably what was happening is he was trying to corral this guy, right? He was trying to convince the second one to come through. He just wanted to impress the last unburned Australian. And unfortunately, he was immediately burned, frozen, and steadily worn down. He's trying to out-astral this thing. What's going to happen is it's going to run out of ammunition on its mind burns, and then it's going to go in and drain life him. So our amazing summoner is dead. Unfortunate. But we have other things to make up for it. We've finished Conjuration 9. We have finished Thaumaturgy level 5. We're going up to Enchantment now. We claimed the Bureaucracy. We got the second King of Elemental Fire. We got a King of Elemental Earth, so we'll look at both of those in a moment. And importantly, we've moved the last Unburned Australian into position. We've given him his boosters, and he is ready to cast Tartarian Gate. So he'll open a gateway into the underworld, one part of the underworld, Tartarus, where all the former gods are imprisoned, and he'll basically say, hey, do you want to come back to the land of the living? And one of them will get through before that gate is closed again, and he has to repeat the ritual next month. This is the second King of Elemental Fire, by the way, Pyrofligos. He doesn't have the Earth Path, and while he has a better fire shield, and I think even more firepower, he is totally unable to enter underwater provinces. I consider him the less useful one because he can't go underwater, and because without that Earth Path he can't thug/super combatant anywhere near as well. So I consider him an evocation, like ritual casting and summoning mage, but I've got him and he's handy. The Earth King. So what happened over here was I panicked a little bit. Not panicked, but I realised I don't really have much in place to deal with the Shiniyamans, and in particular the armies that they have here. So I brought the Troll King over using his winged shoes, put some boosters on him. He used to be wearing the ring until I took it off this turn, and he summoned the first Earth King, and the Earth King can in fact summon the second Earth King. Hooray. So there are two, Origines and Bartharus are the two uncorrupted Earth Kings. So how do these guys sit on the spectrum? I think they're more useful than the Fire Kings. The Earth Kings are very slow and have no feat slots, so there's no way to speed them up, kind of like the Fire Kings in that regard. They're Earth 5. They have built-in regen. One's got 5, one's got 15, I think. They can go underwater, they're poison resistant. They each can summon like their own sorts of allies. One can summon Earth Elementals, and the other one can summon like mini versions of themselves, very small versions of themselves. Not sure exactly what they are. These guys are much better at soloing armies because they have huge amounts of hit points. They've got some native regen. They come with protection 20 natural. So if you put armor on them, they're already up to protection 29. I haven't put a hat on him yet. That's protection 31. Let's say you give him ore. You know, this is starting to get disgusting pretty quickly. Give him a ring of regen to take the regen up to 15%, so he's regenerating a better part of 20 hit points per turn, and all of a sudden you're in business. This sort of super combatant is basically designed to pick an enemy army and turn timer it by stubbornly refusing to die until such time as the turn timer triggers. Let's make magic resistance 21. Iron Will make that magic resistance 25, at which point you start to be capable of enduring spammed MR negates counters. Give him an AoE weapon as his primary, which I'll get from somewhere, and he's good to go. Otherwise, he can be the centerpiece of an army, casting big earth spells. He can do Earthquake and do all kinds of things. His weakness is that he's slow. And that goes for both of the Kings of Elemental Earth. Anyway, so this one we'll have two of them, and these two will help augment because we got our army here destroyed, right? So Shiniyama basically destroyed this army when they forced us to retreat and killed everything on retreat. So we're bringing in reinforcements, obviously. So this army will come down, but we needed something to buff ourselves up, and I think two Kings of Elemental Earth will help us force this choke point right here. Anything else of interest that I want to go through? A couple of assassinations, retaking provinces from Calum, Satis attacking Ind. That was the fort battle, right? Let's have a look at what Satis is using. So, what have we got? This looks like an army that's been done pretty much on the cheap. So, Satis is being efficient. So, we've got a communion of shamans. Not surprising. A Earth Astral Crystal Mage as a master with some temporary astral pearls. What's this? Some Holy 3. Well, one Holy 3. Ind is just setting out its knights to defend the fort, and the crossbows are coming out as well, but they're just going to get dropped down by the birds. I think this will be over pretty quickly. The choice of heavy infantry tells me this is just the stalling choice. So heavy infantry are inferior to falchineers, they're inferior to elite warriors so far as killing goes. Their only advantage is that they have a spear and 16 protection. So if you want something that will just exist, heavy infantry can be it. So I think that's what he's going for here. Other than that, I don't think this fort even triggered gem usage, so we're not going to get much out of that. What did he have there? 4 Marsh Masters, 6 Shamans, and a Crystal Mage, and a Harab Seraph. It's a decent mage core. If he's got one of those with every one of his armies, that's pretty good. What's he got? Sobek Warriors. I need to get more. The problem with trying to get scouts into his territory is that your scouts then get diseases and die, so everyone's on a time limit. So I do need to get more scouts. You can see I've started to stage them. I'll move, significant numbers of them into Satis now, but I need to be able to see this border area. What else was I going to say? So my current I think let's do current research plan. I think I'm actually about to change this actually, because I'm thinking if I have to fight Shinigami, then I might need to quickly run to Evocation 6 to get Mind Hunt, because I've got Soul Slay. And the thing with Shinigami is there's no native astral in there. There's no native astral, and I've seen him twice spawning a bunch of Bakemono sorcerers. So what I can see is if I end up seeing armies where there are Bakemono sorcerers and not too many things that will soak up the Mind Hunts, I can get a battery of Mind Hunters established in my capital relatively quickly, and just soul slay them. Click, 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 click. Machine gun them down. This is particularly the case with his god when he comes back, because his god is holding up Eternal Pyre. So if he's got no way to shield his god, who is an immortal by the way, and immortals keep their globals even when they're in respawn mode, it's bloody good, Mind Hunt might be the way to go. So what I might do is change this. So we go, did I need enchant 6 for anything? I don't think I need it right now. I might do something like this. I might do that. Anyway, I'll think about it. All good. So we've got the Earth King, we've got the Air Queen, we've got 2 Air Queens now. We're pulling together gear as quickly as we can for them. We want to get the 3rd one, who I think will be ready to go next turn. We'll just alchemize the last gem probably, and that'll give us 3 Air Queens ready to go as we start planning a potential contingency with Shinigami. So what that means is bringing armies along the border, basically pulling together what I've got down here and having it ready to go in time, and preferably getting our sailing guy to link up with an army and the trolls here, stage them, and then they can redeploy to Shinigami if necessary. But I'm not sold on the idea at the moment. Ermor has indicated that they want a guarantee that I will not backstab them if they attack Satis. I've offered to extend our nap one more turn from a 3 to a 4. And I think if he's asking that question, then he intends to attack Satis. Certainly this army having moved down away from my border down here, and the presence of forces along here, we can see an army that's been moving in to this throne here, which I presume is his main concentration point. It all suggests that Ermor is concentrating against Satis, which is fine by me. Now, it is, however, dangerous. If Ermor does overrun Satis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so hypothetically, Ermor can win 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Ermor can win with nothing but Satis's thrones. Ermor can win with nothing but Satis's thrones. So we would need to be prepared to move in and block Ermor from getting the last of Satis's thrones before they got them. and vice versa, a Satis can win with Ermor's Thrones. So we just need to be aware of that as we move forward, and that's with neither of them controlling this throne or this throne in Marignon. And I don't know how vulnerable this throne in Marignon is, especially now Calum is here. Not Calum, Satis. Satis is here. Satis is 1-2 moves from Marignon's throne, and I'm not sure Marignon could survive a full Satisian army being thrown at them. So we're in a bit of a dicey phase of the game. This Shidiaman offensive is really a little bit of a potential distraction for me, because there's only one throne in play, and the two people who might win the game are both going to have a chance to play for the win while I'm busy if I go this way. But I got to prep for it. If we've been over this, if GC is pushing me and shoving me and is being belligerent, then there's a chance he might attack me as soon as I turn my back, so I need to prepare to go in preemptively if necessary. So that's where we're at. I'm going to jump forward to turn 48 and we'll talk long-term strategy a little more. Alright, we're in turn 48, and here I've actually remembered to get the full 2H file as well as the turn file, so you can actually see my movements now, which is including my spends and everything, so hopefully that's a little bit more helpful. I basically emptied a lot of my magic items and some gold and bought every gem I could from Ermor. I owe him a debt for this as well, which I'll pay over the coming turns. The reason I need all this will become apparent shortly. This is the maximum amount he was willing to provide me. I sold him basically a bunch of crap that had accumulated in my laboratories, plus a whole bunch of gold. I think he ripped me off, but I need the gems. I need the gems to summon things. We finished enchantment 6. I decided in the end that what we're going to do is we're going to go to enchantment 7 first, which will get us the Serpent's Blessing in case we need it. It'll give us mass flight for assaulting fortresses. In particular, this will be very important in our war with whoever we fight. A mass flight will solve a whole bunch of problems. The rest of it's a bit meh, but eventually we want to go up to 9. My plan is to go enchantment 7, evocation 6, which I should hit really quickly, to get Mind Hunt. The wonderful, wonderful Mind Hunt. I'm doing 3,100 RP per turn, so I'll get there quickly, and then we're going to go enchant 8, enchant 9. Why enchantment 9? Well, I talked about being greedy, but here's my logic, okay? I can turtle in the water, and I have a territorial advantage. How do I lose this game? Well, there's two ways I lose this game. Either I get attacked, either Satis or Ermor completely destroys the other one, and I'm not able to stop them doing so, and they get all the thrones and win. Or they both attack me, push me off land, and I have to decide to find a way to win this game from the water. And that's the age-old problems of relays. If they can't hold onto the land, how do they maintain relevance when shoved back into the water? So, enchantment 9. Arcane Nexus. Most powerful global in the game. Apart from possibly Astral Corruption, they're definitely tied at the top for really game distorting spells if you can keep them up. So I can cast Arcane Nexus if I empower an Astral 5 random star spawn once and give it a shit ton of items. Actually no, I can do it without it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I can do it straight. So I can take an Astral 5, give him a Starshine Skullcap, a Crystal Coin, and a Ring of Wizardry, and cast it. Great. So I can reach Arcane Nexus without boosting, which is awesome. And if I can get Arcane Nexus up and melt all of my gems into an Arcane Nexus cast, then that will then feed my Astral income going forward. The other one that I could get up, if I can get the Nature Gems, and it's why one of the things I sourced this term. These are all just for summoning. I'm trying to source Nature Gems from Marignon. We'll see if I can get them. And yes, I know I'm being incredibly greedy. If you get Gift of Nature's Bounty, it gives all of your provinces a 20% income boost per Dominion candle. And my Dominion is currently 11 and 12 in the case of conflict with other people's Dominion. So I can have up to 10 candles, you can never have more than 10 candles, in a province, which means I can go up to triple my original income. At that point, I can muscle anyone. Even if I lose my land holdings, if I have Arcane Nexus and Gift of Nature's Bounty, I will have more money than the entire landmass, and I will have a supply of gems. And with that, I'll be able to muscle my way back onto land. I think that in reality, the combination of Tartarians and Elemental Royalty will let me now beat anyone. I think my army is, say, 50% stronger than it was 3 turns ago. And give me another 3 turns, and I reckon it'll be twice what it was before I started summoning, and I think that pace of growth will continue. It's really... my army is changing. Just having these extra super casting, mobile, super combatant style units, and a constant flow of them that will be coming out really has transformed my military capability, and soon I expect I'll get a chance to show it off. So that's my plan. My plan is to go all the way to Arcane Nexus and Gift of Nature's Bounty. I already have 178 Astral Pearls. I'll keep banking more because you want a really big overcast. I've got a good nature stockpile. I'll need them for Gift of Reason, which I'm going to cast every turn now, just to empower to make my Tartarians commanders. But I'm also going to run a mild surplus, hopefully through events and other things, which will enable me to get up to the point where I can afford to cast Gift of Nature's Bounty. I'm just going to have some discipline there. Speaking of Tartarians, we summoned our first one. There he is, last note. And the great news is, it's not feeble-minded. In fact, it's not afflicted at all. It's just a troop. So this is the Tartarian Spirit. It's one of the chassis. People should let me know if you want me to talk about Tartarians specifically as a 15-minute guide, because I feel like they've got a mythical status. Some people point out they're overrated. They probably are, but also you shouldn't dismiss them because they are a late-game strategy in and of themselves. The Spirit chassis has inbuilt regeneration, inbuilt fear, poison resistant, cold resistant. It's got Spirit Sight. It will have a number of magical paths, and it's got 150 hit points. This is not the best version of the Tartarian. The various Titans with feet are probably better, but he's still map move 20, relatively high mobility. They are all Shattered Soul, which gives them a 25% chance of being insane any given turn, which can be annoying. But this is great, because what this means is, when we Gift of Reason this guy, he won't need to wear the Shroud and recuperate. He'll just be good to go. So we can give him Armor of Knights instead, which is more protective. And he'll be set and ready for duty straight away. So our first Tartarian will be ready for duty in turn 47. Now, unfortunately, also this turn... sorry, that was all about me. Let's talk about the game for a minute, because it's important how this all plays out. Caleb has been... sorry, for some reason I was getting dropouts for a moment there. So Caleb has been permanently vanquished. So we were able to... between us and Ermel, we were able to catch the last Kalian defenders, spread out and catch his forces, and Caleb has now ceased to exist, which is unfortunate for him, but it probably explains why Ermel continues to push down towards Satis, and has now massed all the way down here in Simri, for Christ's sake. So, yeah, that's all happening. Meanwhile, Satis attacked Ind. Ind itself wasn't defended, and as a result... somebody actually took him. The god of Ind has been permanently vanquished. This game has had a thing with double kills. So if you look at Pretenders of the World, we are now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players defeated, and only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left in the running. What that means is all of Ind's Dominion has now disappeared, so we're starting to wash some Dominion ashore, and I'm going to keep building temples to put pressure on here. We've only got low candle counts in some of these areas. We need to put more pressure on. And in particular, I want to defend this area. I want to get patrollers up here as well, so that Satis can't get scouts into Silver Wall and see that I'm getting Tartarians summoned. There's no land border connection here, so there's no way for him to get in. So if I'm patrolling here and patrolling here, I'm relatively safe from Satis noticing. He'll know I have Conjate, because he's seen the Air Queens over here. But hopefully will not see and will not be aware of the fact that I can go to Tartarians. So that's all a thing. And in Nabar just poked GC. This is what GC has brought in. It's a mixture of mostly Bakemono Sho and Dai Bakemono infantry, but he's also got some Karasu Tengu for flying attack rear shenanigans, and a decent mage called 5 Bakemono Sorcerers, Dai Tengu, Dragon of the Caves, and a White Mage. And I'm betting the White Mage is a former Bakemono Sorcerer, and 5 Ubers. So, good decent mage core. Probably not enough to storm a fort, given that whatever might be inside, but he might be able to give it a go. We're going to have to watch closely, obviously. We're also going to have to keep an eye on where Goblin Tokugawa goes, because at the moment he's in his capital, and if he doesn't have astral protection, the chances are we'd hit the research mages, but we can have a go. But if he moves, he moves, so we've got to keep an eye on him as well. So that's turn 48. I'm going to go to turn 49, where our first Tartarian should actually be ready and available for combat. And we can judge our next moves from there. It's turn 49, and sometimes you see things and things are just meant to be. 2 things happened this turn, and they have basically decided where this game is going to go next. The first thing is here. Goblin Tokugawa moved out of his capital, and I didn't talk about it last turn, but GC has previously put up Well of Misery with Goblin Tokugawa, or at least I believe it's with Goblin Tokugawa. So this guy here is holding up 1, maybe 2 globals. It could be he's cast it with someone else, but 1 or 2 globals held up by this guy. And he's in a province alone. I can't allow GC to just get 40 gems per turn, and who knows, maybe he's going to cast more globals and there's more to come. But 40 gems per turn means that he's actually going to be keeping up in the gem stakes, and I'm just not about fairness. I have the gem advantage because of the size of my territory, right? I have probably twice as much territory as him, maybe more. But with an extra 40 gems per turn, he's probably keeping up. So this is what we're doing. I have equipped a elite kill team of 5 Starspawn. Each Starspawn has been given, 4 Starspawn and 1 Slave Mage. Most of the kill team has been given an Eye of the Void, a Spell Focus, a Starshine Skullcap, so they beat the threshold of the spell. So they can meet the threshold of the spell, and a Shroud of the Battle Saint for extra pen. So 2, 3, 4 extra magical penetration. Love it. So we're going to make 5 attempts at Goblin Tokugawa with bonus penetration mind hunts. And we're going to try and soul slay him. We're going to try and put him into a long respawn cycle and take down those globals and laugh all the way to the bank. So that's what we're doing. One of the reasons we feel confident to do this is because this happened. What happened here? Is this Nabar? Nabar just poked the Shiniyamans in case they left, and then Shiniyama attacked Nabar. So here we are. This is the Nabarese army. It is a very large number of camel riders with their free spawn falcons. It is some Malika, or is it Malikum in plural? I don't know. A couple of Malika with gems. So this one's A4, Fire 3, Earth 1 with a bunch of air gems. This one's a F3, Air 4, Earth 1 with a whole bunch of fire gems. We've got some Jan Emirs, who I'm guessing are about to be communion slaved up. We've got a Jinun, who's kitted for thug duty. This guy is a member of the Hall of Fame, but his precision's not going to help him. So what he's got is Fire 2, Air 2, so he'll be able to go Mistform if he isn't already Mistformed. He's Glamour by default, so he won't need to Mirror Image. That's one thing. He's Unseen, which is very handy. No, very cool. -10 to attack skill unless they have Spirit Sight. And he's geared with Black Steel, Chainmail of Displacement, which is a defense and protection based hybrid. So he's at defense skill 30, and he's subtracting even more with this. So he'll be almost impossible to hit by default. He reinvigorates a little bit, so he won't tire out as quickly. He has an AoE attack, Bracer of Protection, and this Protective Force 20 Dancing Shield. So 50% chance of blocking incoming attacks with its additional Protective Force of 20. Heck of a thug. Nabar does thugs. Nabar does thugs well. Also, they have their god here, which is E4 Astral 5, a whole bunch of Earth Gems, and a Crystal Coin to get it up to Astral 5, 2 Astral Pearls, and it's an innate caster, a long line of elite soldiers, and most importantly, the Jan Guard, the elite glamoured giants of Nabar. On the Shinigami side, we've got a blob of stuff, like Bakemono shows and all Bakemonos. We've got a line of archers, a competent line of archers, some Karasu Tembus and Tengu warriors, and then the Mage Corps that I demonstrated to you before. A couple of these Bakemono sorcerers are twice spawned. In fact, I think most of them are twice spawned. And a line of Ubers. Do the Ubers have gems? Doesn't look like the Ubers have gems. In fact, most of the Bakemono sorcerers don't have gems. Some do, but most Bakemono sorcerers do not have gems, which is problematic. Looking at this straight off, I don't think Shinigami has enough. They need to have brought more mages, more buffs, and better troops, because this surviving force in a bar is dangerous. Battle commences. Okay, so there's some damage done by the Tengu who are throwing their lightning, but some of it's caught by the walls. The birds get in there and just are annoying. What have we got? Okay, so Shinigami has Howl. We've got Light of the Northern Star cast on Nabar's side, so these guys are now Astral 2. We've got Flaming Arrows for the defenders. GC is firing off some fire elementals. They're great. They can go straight through the walls because they're ethereal. You can see the swarm bugs from Nabar are coming up the back as well. Although it's confusing because I think most of those swarm bugs are actually Shinigami. The Tengus do what Tengu do. They jump to the rear and die. They're having a one-on-one fight. I'm just going to put on team-coloured squares to help us out here. Although those team colours are pretty bloody close to each other. So the Tengu get killed by elementals, including air elementals that form the defensive line around the god. And then there's going to be a mosh pit around the gate. With both sides having flaming arrows, the Dai Bakemono with flaming arrows are one of the few things that will actually reliably kill these Jan, but a lot of their arrows are being sucked up by the walls or missing. In the actual breach itself, these elite giants are going to be able to hold pretty much forever. And with flaming arrows, these Camel Riders' composite bows actually can do some damage. So flaming arrows flying back and forth. If either side had been able to muster an air shield, that would have been really useful at this point. I'm just going to check if the Jinoon is dead. Because if so, that is a loss and a half. No, the Jin are apparently alive, so we'll try and find those. Oh, here it is. Scissorjin's just in the back line, killing bugs one at a time with his brand, and sucking up a whole bunch of arrow fire. So that little battle's going to keep going in the rear. In the meantime, you can already see the Skelly Spam assault has now begun from the Shinigamis. And if anything, they might have been better off opening with Skelly Spam rather than sending in a large block of infantry. They just would have needed a lot more of it in order to control the Nambar breakout. And you can see huge amounts of the Shinigami army is now actually entirely occupied with killing this one Jin. Which is awkward because the army of Nabar is rushing up behind them, complete with fire elementals and elite Jan Guard, and they are going to cut their way through these skeletons of Dai Bakemono, and they're going to murder everyone. So Howl is no longer up. No buffs are anymore up. The Dai Bakemono are not a match for these Jan. And thanks to the heroic distraction and actions of that thugged out Jinun, Shinigami routs. So, in that battle, for the loss of 2 adventurers and 2 Janimirs, 3 Mukribs, and this cluster of stuff, Nabar killed 4 Bakemono sorcerers, although most of them were twice spawned. a Daitengu, a Kitsune, 5 Ubers, a White Mage, and then basically the entire army, including 54 Dai Bakemono and 45 Orb Bakemono. So, GC got an army wrecked, and I think it's an undercommitment problem. We know he has lots of troops, we know he has lots of mages, he just didn't bring enough to this fight. He needed, if anything, if he just brought this extra army which has spent its time warding me off this throne, that would have given him more flaming arrows. He could have brought more Bakemono sorcerers who could do more Skelly spam, more buffing. You just needed to respect the fact that the force inside Nabar's fortress was always going to be dangerous, and you couldn't know how dangerous because of the glamour. I probably would have pinged the fort. Maybe he did and thought he could take it. I don't know. It hurts because the Shinigami army had a lot going for it. It had the flaming arrows. It had the elementals. It had Howl. It had a lot of good stuff. It just needed a little bit more to overpower the Nabar defense. So that siege will probably be broken relatively soon. He's kept the dragon in the cave, but he's now vulnerable. And I'm not one to say no to a target of opportunity like that. So, here's the plan. We're going to try and establish dominance early on, and then give up a little bit of ground open on. So we're going to take as much ground by surprise as possible, and then consolidate, so that we don't get individual forces poached off. So I'm improvising just with whatever happened to be in place. In the ideal world, I would have had a turn or two more to prepare, but I don't have it, and I'm not going to waste this opportunity. I'm not going to let Goblin Tokugawa get away. It would just be dumb. So, what am I going to do? I had a couple of forces here, just Meteorite Guard that I managed to collect from these fortresses and move up. The one down here as well. So what I'm going to do is throw together 2 forces. One is sort of a raiding force, and one is an actual small army. So this is the actual small army. It's only like 30 troops, but it's got a small collection of mages with it that are capable of doing things like Creeping Doom. If I can send it more gems, they can do mass protection. Here, it's just 53 troops straight in, kill the province defense, move on, because I don't think this province will be garrisoned. You'll note this province here, Coast Haven, is super valuable, 170 income. We're not targeting it in the initial wave because I want to envelop it instead. This province here, we're sending in Helpful Wombat, the visitor, with his pet Vastness. The Vastness will fire on the enemy. He will mirror image, personal and then throw some astral spells. I'll redo his script, don't worry. But it'll be more than enough to kill PD between the two of them. Here, this army, which is was on the throne, is mostly a couple of blobs of HP and Meteorite Guard. I've been recruiting maximum number of Meteorite Guard from all of my fort, all games, and I'm so glad I did. They're going to come in and take this Jade Sorcerer's province. Couple to defend from attack rear, some big blobs over on the side, and then Meteorite Guard advancing straight at the enemy here. Attack closest, attack rear, life is good. We're not moving straight onto Shinigami itself with an army, but we'll talk about that in a moment. This big blob, this is actually a decent force. So what we've got here is a Communion Slave setup, where the Star Children will be the Communion Slaves. The reason they're doing that, not Slave Mages, is because they regen 2 HP, not 1, unlike Slave Mages that only have 10 HP. So what will happen is we've got 4 Communion Slaves that will boost 2 Communion Masters, one of whom is Nature and has Nature Gems and a Cornucopia, and will be casting Mass Protection Personal Regen. That Personal Regen will then enable these guys to survive 2 Masters constantly casting, which is handy. We're also bringing in Ruaks. So Ruaks has been given a Ring of Water Breathing, Regen Ring, Armor of Knights, Horror Helmet, Firebrand, and Shield of Gleaming Gold. And he, in true super combatant fashion, is just going to go in and attack closest after doing a buff script. Iron Skin, Temper Flash, Phoenix, Pyre, attack closest. Works for me. Once we actually are in a position where the armies are in place, he's got a whole bunch of fire gems there, he can switch over to doing some major spells. I'm thinking probably Heat from Hell coupled with Fire Fend as my own form of baby fatigue play, which will be good. These troops here, Meteorite Guards and a few Mind Blasters, they'll move in for a reinforcement. Troops that were in this fortress, bang. Troops that were here moving to reinforce the southern front are going to split off into 3 directions. Small force, well, not small force, mid-sized force, mid-sized force. Here in this fortress, what we're going to do is we're going to split up. So most of the mages and the actual troops are going to go take this throne. And there's a really good contingent of Mind Blasters here. And you'll notice we've got two Earth Kings positioned to thug things out because we've got the second one now. Origines, who has slightly lower base protection because he's not made of stone as much. He's like stone and rocks rather than like marble hard. But he has a higher regen rate. So we've geared him, we've given him a Flesh Eater so that he doesn't rout. So he's our turn timer SC, because he'll now go Berserk, which will drive his protection even higher. And he regens at 15%. Barthrus is the one with the higher. Barthrus is the new guy, sorry. Yeah, Barthrus has the lower one because it's stone and soil. He's a gem generator and he has a higher rate of regen. So we've boosted that regen further. We've given him kit. He's also good to go, and he'll make his own earth gems as he goes, which is nice. So that force will move in here, take this throne, and be positioned to throw him off Nabar if need be. Meanwhile, over here, we're just setting in Troll King, who I will rename. I think he's going to be Troll King. There we are. So he'll take that province. And he's got little flying boots so he can get around everywhere. So we'll hit that, and then to make this extra intensive, what we're going to do is we're going to cast Cloud Trapeze with all of our Air Queens. So Thuella will target 146 and 142 will be Nefel. So where is 146? So we're going to hit this province, and we're going to hit 142. Where is 142? Set this all up, and now I can't remember. Okay, 142 is to rejoin our force over here, and then she can travel out. That's fine. Okay, so Thuella will airdrop onto this province, and what that will do is that will encircle Shiniyama. Now I understand what I was doing. This will encircle Shiniyama and mean that no reinforcements can arrive in time, and we can safely, by giving up this territory, no matter what's here, we can then consolidate onto Shiniyama, crack it, and be in a position to assault it before help can arrive. And there'll be two Air Queens positioned at 142 who can move to anywhere in Shiniyama by Cloud Trapeze or normally, and they'll have better kit by then, and they'll be in a position to reinforce whoever needs assistance, either by standard movement or by teleporting. They'll have the option to do both. Meanwhile, Peter Dutton and Clive Palmer. So Clive Palmer is the second Tartarian we've summoned. Unfortunately, he's the least useful kind of Tartarian. He's feeble-minded. He didn't need to be Gift of Reason. He came as a commander, but he is feeble-minded. And he's the type that doesn't have a body slot. And because it doesn't have a body slot, I can't recuperate it. So he's basically stuck. Yeah, he's basically stuck. What I could do is he has 310 hit points. I might give him a regen ring, which would give him 32 regen per turn, which is not bad. Sorry, 31 regen per turn. He can wear an iron face, but I just don't have the gems for it at the moment. And what he can do is he can go kill PD. He can be an attack rear PD killer. He's got 2 high damage attacks, and more importantly, he's got fear 10. So as long as he can regen through everything, he should be fine. Like, I only spent 10 gems on him, right? This is the thing about Tartarian Gate. It costs 10 gems. So we're all good. Forging a nature booster so that we can go up to Fairy Court. So the Moonvine Bracelet's on the way because we saved a few gems, so we can do this forging this turn because we didn't have to Gift of Reason anybody, which is great. Meanwhile, Peter Dutton, who can swim, is going to go underwater and he'll join the front in Shiniyama. Because this is a lab here, he doesn't need to be geared this turn, he can pick up his gear on the way. So we are targeting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Shiniyaman provinces on turn 1 of our offensive. The idea is then, we will have mixed things up, put him on the back foot, we'll have the initiative. We can then choose which provinces we might want to give up to counter raiders in order to consolidate and start taking forts, because taking forts is how we're going to shut him down and turn his resources over to us. We'll move additional reinforcements in a constant stream, and the real objectives are going to have to be Shiniyama and Vanarus, that are both on his coastline, because they'll be full of research mages who we can kill to stop him researching counters, and they'll be really valuable. If we can get our dominion over these two provinces, that's going to do a real number on our income in a positive way. So, with Ermor about to attack Satis, I believe their nap is about up, and Ermor is about to attack in all likelihood. We are going to move in on Shiniyama. We've got our Tartarian factory online. We have all 3 of the Air Queens. We have both of the Earth Kings. We have both of the Fire Kings that are available. We have 1 of 3 Water Queens, and that's enough for me. So other than getting like Anthrax and the Corrupted Blood, which we can't do, I think we're done on the Elemental Royalty. Our army has gone from being strong to, I reckon we could take on most people as long as we're not in the Dominion that gives everyone disease or the Dominion that has no supply, because we now have enough big stuff to support the legions of elite infantry that I'll be sending in. We've got small packages of mages that are moving around capable of supporting everyone, mostly by casting things like mass protection and soon mass regeneration as well. In fact, as soon as we hit enchantment level 8, we'll have mass regen, which will be in exactly 2 turns. So by the time we storm the fort of Shiniyama, we should have mass regen. And I think with darkness, mass regen, and mass flight, fortresses are not going to be a problem for us, I hope. This is a big gamble, in a sense, because obviously most of GC's Mage Corps will not be committed. We don't have a good idea of how many troops he has uncommitted in the interior. It stands to reason that this will not be his entire army by any stretch. I think this was just him being a victim of undercommitment. But when you see an opponent posture in hostile fashion and then lose an army and expose their immortal god to a bunch of mind hunts, well, you've got to take the opportunities that are open to you. So, stick with me, and we'll see how the as yet unnamed operation to bring down the goblins plays out. Cheers.